this Tim Walz guy, I mean, we talked about him briefly the other day. I think he was the most stupid pick you could have come up with if you were Kamala Harris. I mean, I would have at least breathed a little bit of a sigh of relief for the country. I say this because you know what? Like, at the end of the day, all I care about as an American patriot is that we have the best team in place. And even if you're picking from a lousy bunch, in this case, I would have rather seen Shapiro in the spot than somebody like Walz. I mean, all things being equal. And that's because he has more of a realist view and take on the world than somebody like Walz, who's like living in Waltz land, right? Doing his little waltz dance. Like this guy, he's like just living in La La Land, like dreamland, really. And you think about the deterioration, for example, of Minnesota, which one of my producers at Fox, actually, a wonderful, wonderful woman. We got to get her on the show one of these days because I'm sure she'd have a lot to say about this. She'd be so terrific. Anyway, she used to tell me, because she grew up there, how Minnesota was such a wonderful, safe place. There were a lot of Swedish immigrants there, and they kind of had the best of everything. But they were so naive in their understanding of, okay, well, let's share this with everyone. They were very welcoming of immigrants from a very different kind of culture, specifically Somalia. I mean, if you look at the flag, this is not misinformation. I don't have it to show you right now, but we've done the story in the past. They actually redesigned the Minnesota flag, and it looks very, very kind of eerily similar to a flag from Somalia, shall we say. So her viewpoint on this was that the people that lived in Minnesota were a little naive, and they catered to this group of immigrants thinking, okay, we'll just, share the wealth, etc. And it didn't really work out as they had hoped. And so Minnesota consequently went from being a really economically prosperous place with a lot of safety to a whole lot more challenges, right? So Minneapolis, I mean, these are cities that are not what they once were when it comes to safety and prosperity, etc. And so you can kind of look at Walz and say, gee, what role has he played in this? He's very socialist. He's very left. He's all about trans rights, etc. He's all about, look, there's nothing wrong with green energy. I actually welcome all sources of energy. I really do. I'm a big believer, and you got energy, we'll take it, but let's be realistic about it. Let's not penalize an entire group of people because somebody in the White House has an in with some green energy makers and they're trying to promote a certain agenda.